So there I was last night, sitting watching YouTube, watching Blacktail Studios, a fantastic YouTube channel with a guy called Cam, I think his name is, makes these beautiful tables out of epoxy and walnut, lovely woods for high-end clients, and really, really lovely, beautiful tables. And as I said, he creates this beautiful stuff, really interesting channel, gets millions of hits. And the thing is, as I was watching it, I started thinking to myself, it reminded me about, I started thinking about a blog post I wrote some time back called, I think it's called, Are You a Consumer or a Creator? And when I wrote that post, it reminded me because basically I wasn't writing it from the point of view of a consumer. I was writing it point of view as from a creative point of view, people who create stuff. And here I was sitting doing everything that I suggested we don't do by watching this video. Let me explain. Basically, I'll ask you now, are you living your life as a consumer, as a creator? Are you creating your life, or are you consuming to escape from it? And that might seem like a bit of a tough question, but when you ask most people what they want, if you ask, most people say they want more freedom, more time, more money, be more successful. But when it comes down to it and actually doing what's required for that to happen, the majority of people just they just don't do what it takes, or they just can't. They just don't feel the need. And that's why fundamentally there's two types of people: creators and consumers. The creators are the entrepreneurs, the people who create businesses, who create products to sell. And I'm not just talking about online, I'm talking about in the real world, physical stuff, and create businesses to sell and provide for other people. They're the people who create to build wealth, and they sell their stuff. And for the consumers, who generally most of the time are the people who are just employed, if you like, and I know that's a generalization, but people who are employees are generally consumers. They get their wages, they come home, go to work, go to work, come home, and then binge watch Netflix or play computer games or chill out, do whatever, and then do it all again the next year. And they're binge watching the Netflix series or whatever, just to escape from very often a job they don't like or anything like that. And they spend their wages and go through traditional life, and sometimes on credit, and they consume stuff, they buy stuff, and they're the buyers of the goods and the services from the creators. And it's the creators who create, well, as I said, the entrepreneurs. And of course, creators consume as well, especially the mega rich, mega wealthy creators. They buy super yachts and fantastic houses, holiday homes, and Bentleys and Lamborghinis, flash cars and everything. Of course they consume, but they consume in a different way. They consume information. They're striving, they build all the time. The entrepreneurial spirit is someone who creates and thrives and learns and does consume, but consumes with the view of creating more wealth for themselves. And that's a mindset shift. And it's something that the majority of people, and that's why the majority of people always live life on the edge, if you like. It's only, relatively speaking, the top wealthiest people are people who are the creators, not the consumers. The consumers are the people who make, if you like, or help create the wealth for the creators. Now, there's nothing wrong with being just a consumer, and if you're happy with your lot and that's the life you want to lead, and you like the security of living paycheck to paycheck, of course that's absolutely fine, and consume the stuff that makes you happy. But really, truly, there's no, certainly in today's age, I personally don't think there's any real security in that. And so really it comes down to a bit of a mindset shift to change how you think. And I've always loved the idea of being a creator. As I said, I've had a few businesses now. I used to be an optician, as you know. I'm now a freelance copywriter. Although even as a freelance copywriter, you know, although I'm sort of creating, I'm creating words really I'm writing for the creators who create the products that we sell. And so, as I said, there's nothing wrong with being a consumer, but if you've really got ambitions for, in my view, a freer, happier life where you're free to do it. I live life pretty much, I work when I want. I've done pretty well out of, as I said, for the last, I say this in all my videos just so you know my history. For the last, I used to be an optician, couldn't stand it. For 25, 30 years I did it. Finally got rid of it, jacked it all in and started becoming, long story, you can, I'll link it to the video to the end of my whole story about how I became a copywriter. But for the last 15 years or so, I've been writing direct response sales copy for one of the, or some of the top direct mail response marketers here in the UK. And we've sold well over $20 million of sales. I think it's more like 30 these days. I can't actually remember, but well over $20 million of sales, predominantly in the make money niche. And it's allowed me a lot of freedom to work when I want, choose what I want, choose to work when I want. But ultimately, true freedom is being able to create something once or create stuff that is sold completely over and over again. It's just, don't get me wrong, as I said, you know, when I write the stuff, I actually write on a commission basis where I get a percentage of the sales, not the turnover, the actual sales. That's how I've negotiated my income. But ultimately, it's to create. If you want to create something to sell of your own that is sold when you're asleep, when you're away doing other stuff, something that people will consume your stuff, not you consuming their stuff all the time. And personally, I just think this is the way for true happiness and true freedom in life. And even if you're a consumer and you've got your 9 to 5 and even if you're trying to escape the normal 9 to 5, even if you love your job or if you don't like your job, whatever, if you fancy doing something different, now it's never been easier to become a creator. And it's so easy to sell stuff or put stuff out on the internet that other people can consume. And even if you don't do it for income or you don't do it for money, if you do it just for fun or a desire to do something different, you never know where it can lead. It could lead to other things where you suddenly break out and all of a sudden it takes over and much more comes of it. You know, you start a YouTube channel or start Instagram posting, social media, and using social media to your advantage rather than just being as a consumer, scrolling and buying it, being entertained by what's on there. Use it for you, to create wealth for you or create a freer, happier lifestyle for you. And so, as I said, it's really a shift in mindset, and it's not a big shift. It's just it's a small shift. As I said, it's so easy nowadays to create something to put out into the world. So someone in the opposite side of the world can get your stuff so easily. And it's so exciting when you think of it in those terms. And even putting out, I mean, the easiest way to start is just put some, you only need a little bit of, say, information in something a little bit more than someone else. If you know something a little bit more than someone else who wants to learn, you can easily package your information up into something that they will happily they'll pay for, or if they don't pay for, you can offer it to them for free and get information. Once people start getting your information, they start wanting more from you. And that's when, obviously, I mean, this is how businesses really work. They'll very often, especially in mail order businesses, they'll often give stuff away for free or very, very low cost to get a contact or a lead, and then follow up those leads with higher ticket items and higher ticket whatever. And because the customers now trust the person or the seller, if you like, or the creator, because they've experienced them already, they're more likely to buy. And that's how, obviously, the wealthy creators sell their stuff. And there's just so much we can do. And as I said, the easiest thing to do is, well, package what you know up into a little document, only 3-5 pages, even 20-30 pages, it doesn't matter. A Google Doc. It doesn't have to be pretty. It can be ugly as hell. Just think of something that you could use, something that you've done, a problem you've solved, or something that has helped you in your life. Because if that's helped you in your life, the chances are it could help someone else in their life as well. And although I'm being very simplistic here, it's really, when you actually stop and think about it, you will almost certainly have solved some problems in your life, or you've dealt with a situation in such a way that it's worked out, everything's worked out well. And if you can impart that information on for someone else, you're doing them a service. And the consumer will benefit from that service. So by you becoming the creator, there's a chance you can build so much more out of it, and the consumer still benefits. So this is what it's definitely worth, in my opinion, becoming a creator. As I said, that could be in a traditional business. It doesn't have to be online, although online is just becoming an information publisher is the perfect way to go, in my opinion, because obviously it doesn't cost much you don't have to worry about shipping, handling, and all that sort of thing. But even in the physical world, where you're shipping goods and even offering services that are automated online via software or whatever, anything like that, where you're creating something for other people to get, or the consumers to consume, is just a brilliant way forward. And just start to think in terms of, are you a consumer or are you a creator? Are you creating your life, or are you consuming your way through your life to escape from stuff that you don't really want to do? Creating, that's what wealthy people do. They don't consume for the sake of consuming. They consume because they want stuff, but they create a better life for themselves. They create their wealth. They create their future. And that's what I'm advocating here. We should be, you've got to create your future. Unless you're excessively lucky, or I don't know, things just happen for you, which does happen for some people, but on the whole, you've got to create the life that you want. And I'm doing it here on mine. I like filming these little videos. I really do. I'm a little bit bored with writing sales copy. I've done it long enough. I don't mind. It's much better than being an optician, which I hated doing with a passion. And so I got out of it. But I like doing this. So I'm creating my channel, if you like. So I'm creating a new avenue. And offer a few little products or whatever, but it's not about that. I'm creating for other people to consume. So I guess what I'm saying is that, obviously my audience, if you watch this, if you got this far, then you're going to be in the same mindset as me. So although you might be consuming, I went on YouTube last night to consume content about something. It was to do with, I think I might have said this already, selling options. I do that as a little bit of a side hustle or a bit of options trading. And I love it. I really enjoy it. And that's what I went on YouTube for. And I went down a YouTube rabbit hole and ended up watching Cam from Blacktail Studios. And as I said, fantastic channel. And he's a creator. He's creating. For me, as that particular point, I was a consumer, but I'm not a woodworker. As I said, there was no benefit to me whatsoever. So that's, as I said, you're watching this video now. I'm hoping, yes, you're consuming this video, but if you've watched it, as I said, I knew I'd digress, but if you've got this far, then you've watched it because you're basically want to become a creator as well. And so it's easy to do, as I said. Stop consuming just for entertainment for the sake of it, and just start creating. Or if you're going to consume stuff, consume it for education, to educate yourself, learn stuff that will help you create and improve your own life. Stop being a consumer solely and become a creator. As I said, there's fundamentally only two types of people: creators and consumers. And yes, the creators do consume. They like to consume, but they create wealth. They read information, and yes, they consume information on strategy, business, building wealth, creating, anything to improve their life. They create they create their future. They're not consuming for they don't consume for entertainment in the way the majority of people do. The consuming life for most people is actually a trap. They wake up, go to work, come home, binge Netflix or social media or whatever to escape, and then do it all again. It's a trap. It might seem harmless to begin with, but it keeps people in the loop. And so meanwhile, the consumer is doing all that for someone else, the creator, to ultimately get paid. And they're getting paid for what you consume, if that's all you are. So, as I said, it's just a different mindset. Change the way you think. And I just think there's so much more potential. The mind of the wealthy, or the mindset of the wealthy, or the creative people, if you like, the creators in life, the different mindset they've got, they think differently. As I said, they learn to apply. They consume with purpose. They see obstacles as roadmaps and guidance, if you like. They don't look at failure as failure. They look at failure as lessons and something to learn from, so they can improve, go round an obstacle and work around it and find a better way. Basically, they treat failure as feedback. They're willing to do something before they're ready, and they know that if they want a better life, they've got to create it for themselves. It's not going to come to them. They have to build their life, and that's the difference between the motivated mindset of the creator, the successful, the wealthy. And it's a great way to think. So how do you do it? Okay, let's talk about how if you've never created anything in your life and you think, right, yeah, this sounds good, I'm going to do it. Right, it's so easy on the internet these days. As I said earlier in the video, you can create a PDF document in Google. That's the easiest, in my view, by far the easiest way to create something. And even if no one sees it, just create something and just put it out online. And even if one or two people see it, it doesn't matter. If you're providing information for someone else to benefit from, a consumer to benefit from, but you're creating, and it starts the creative process going. You could do a YouTube channel, what I'm doing here, or start a podcast, listen to something like, write an ebook, or people put out cheat sheets and checklists, if you like. Use Canva, which is a free, brilliant program for creators. I've got a professional account, but it's even the free version is so powerful and so much fun for people to create stuff to put online, and it's really, really easy to use. Start experimenting and trying different stuff. There's so much free stuff for creative people out on the internet, and you'd be surprised at where it takes you. The best thing to do is really start consuming stuff that helps you. YouTube, obviously, I love YouTube. It's great. It's great for entertainment. It's fantastic for education. I get virtually all my information. When I want to learn to do something, or I want information about something, I use YouTube to find out. You can always get a lesson on something and how other people are working, how they're benefiting, how they do stuff. And for me, that's a visual medium. But obviously, Google, the like. There's so many ways you can get. You can consume stuff that helps you and benefits you. Listen to podcasts from people who have built what you want, or entrepreneurs, or where you want to be. They've done the sort of thing that you want to do yourself, or you're thinking about doing. Consume that kind of content, and all of a sudden the impetus will take over, and you'll want more and more of it. Well, certainly that's how I feel anyway. Oh, I've got an aeroplane going over. I hope you can still hear me, but I'll cut it there because that noise was driving. It was too loud. So, but yeah, consume content from creators who teach rather than entertain. There's nothing wrong with this, watching and consuming entertainment. Of course there's not. And we all need a little bit of entertainment in our lives, but don't doom scroll. Start consuming from creators who teach you stuff that you can do yourself. That's the way to really get on and start your own creative world, and it can lead to so much more freedom, happiness, a much better lifestyle. And so I don't lead the lifestyle that most people. I get up when I feel like. I wake up and get up and go to work and start work when I want to work. Yes, of course, sometimes, occasionally I get deadlines when I've told I need to write something, but if it's too much pressure, I won't take the job. It's just, I choose my terms to work. And that freedom is it's just such a lovely thing to have in life. And I believe it's there for anyone to have if you just shift your mindset. So start creating something. Start small, even with a view that no one gets to see it. If no one sees it, it doesn't matter. You'll have learned something on how to do it, how to put something out on the internet. But it could take you in completely different directions. So just do it. Get something else. Change your mindset and start becoming a creator, not a consumer. You don't need a big audience. You don't need to even be confident to start. There's a great quote that I love. It's one of my favourite quotes from Zig Ziglar. You don't have to be great to start, but you do have to start to be great. And I think that says it all. Just start, do something. And if the longer you stay stuck in the consumption loop, the harder it is to really change your life and get a life that you want. If you make the break and start the process, the life that you want will come to you that much quicker. It has done to me. I have a great life compared to so many people. You know, I'm not totally happy where I want to be. Don't get me wrong. I want to be freer than I am. But I do have a lovely lifestyle where I don't have to wake up and get up and go follow the man, if you like, until I check out whenever. I live life on my terms. As I said, I want more freedom than I've got. But ultimately, it's great to live a life where you're pretty much in control of your own destiny. So that's what I'm advocating on this video. Okay, well, I think I've probably rambled on long enough now, so I'm going to bring this video to a close. If this resonated, or you got something out of this video, or you started thinking, you know, please obviously, you know, like and subscribe, all that stuff. Please like it if you can, because obviously that helps my channel grow. It needs it at the moment, as you can probably tell by my number of views. But although having said that, I'm not doing it. I don't care whether I've got 1 view, 5 views, 10 views, 100 views, 1,000 views. I'm doing this because I love the process of creating these little videos. So if you can help out by liking, subscribing it, please do. But it's more important that you get something that you love doing and start creating the lifestyle that you want. And as I said, if you like this stuff, check out my other videos. I'll leave a link to a couple of others up here, and yeah, check out the other stuff. And in the meantime, get creating.